Well, the process of air layering has been around a long time, and it's actually a standard used in the industry a lot. But the neat thing about it is, it's something that you can do at home. Well, today I want to show you how to do an air layer. And one of the neat things about air layering too is that you can start out with a larger plant once you propagate. If I were going to take a tip cutting of this rubber tree, I'd have to take a cutting and it would just be a very small plant once it rooted. But with an air layer, I can actually propagate this so that I'm starting my plant down here and it's going to root while it is still attached to the mother plant. So I can start out with a much larger plant and I'll have a larger plant when I'm done. Well, the first thing that you want to do is come down about 1.5 feet from the tip on this plant and remove one of these leaves here. You want to use a sterile knife and then just make a slit around the stem like this, and then about 1 inch down from that make another slit. Now I'm cutting into this stem through the cambium but not through the xylem, which is in the center. And you can kind of feel that when you cut into it. You'll feel your knife kind of stop a little bit, and that's where you need to stop. Next, I'm just going to go ahead and remove all this cambium, or the green, all the way around. You'll notice how the color changes from green to a kind of a milky white there, and that's where you want to stop cutting into the plant. Now I'm going to do this completely around the stem. You might be able to take your fingernail and finish up that process. So you've got a clean cut all the way around. Well, next you'll want to use some rooting powder, which is available at your garden center, and just take your knife and sprinkle that onto the cut here. You'll knock off any of the excess here, and I want to get a good coating of that all the way around. And next, what I want to use is some sphagnum moss. Now some people use peat moss for this, but if you use the sphagnum moss that's kind of fibrous, it will hold together better for you. Now this has been moistened ahead of time, and I'm just going to squeeze out the excess water and get a good handful of that, and then come on up here and place that around the stem all the way around, and kind of firm that to the stem. Next is the somewhat tricky part. It takes a little bit of coordination. You have to use a little bit of saran wrap, which we all know how fun that is to work with, and place that around your moss. This is probably the hardest part of the whole process, is trying to get your saran wrap not to stick to itself. Now I'm actually pulling that very tight around there to keep that moss in close to the stem. This will also help to keep the water in and allow those roots to get some moisture once they start to form. Now I've got that tightened up. I'll just take a couple of twist ties here and tie one at the top, just firm enough to keep the saran wrap close to the plant, and then one at the bottom. Actually, I probably should go ahead and remove this leaf that's in the way here, and we'll just tighten that down. Okay. Now with rubber plants, they don't need a dark environment to root, but if you had another plant that wanted a dark environment to root, you could go ahead and place some foil around that, and that would give the roots a dark environment. Now this whole process will actually take about 8 weeks, and in the meantime you want to check that, make sure it stays moist. If you need to put some more water in, go ahead and loosen this top twist tie just like that, and pour a little bit of water down in there, and then tighten that back up. Now I've got one over here that's actually already rooted, and I want to show you what you do after they're rooted and how to pot them up. But see how the roots, you can actually see when this ball fills up with roots, then it's ready to go ahead and cut off. And I'll just cut it here at the base, right about where my bottom twist tie is. And remove the saran wrap from that root ball. Now I've got, look at all those good roots in there. And go ahead and kind of loosen those roots up around the base. And then place this in a pot. Again, loosening up the roots. And pot that up. Now, once you've got this potted up, you'll need to firm the soil just slightly as you're potting it up. And because this is a pretty big plant, you'll want to use a bamboo stake or something like that to give it some support until it roots into the media. So I just use a bamboo stake and again some more twist ties. Not too tight, just enough to keep it standing straight. And we'll put another one in up here. And have a nice new plant. And we'll go ahead and water that in. And we've got a great plant, and we've multiplied out our air filtering plants. So you might want to try this at home. It's a fun project.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.